Okay, welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gulmer, and a podcast engineer here. I'm excited to bring you another episode of the Mastery of Connections show uh, with Alan or MC Holmes, who we affectionately call the Master Connector. And the show is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central. And so this is kind of all about networking and making connections and so on. Um, so I'm going to pass it over to Alan to get us kicked off today.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is Alan Holmes, MC Holmes, coming to you on this incredible Wednesday, the day before the incredible happy 4th of July to each one of you. Hope you and your families are doing well. Happy belated Canada Day for you. Community, yes, in the business. I am the master connector for building it, but affectionately on Wednesdays, I am the MC Holmes. And today on Massive Connections, we have the honor and privilege of making another great guest. For those who are living on the replay, you'll hear about him. His name is Richard Brooks. Now, Richard is a business management. That's where he spent most of his time, his career taking care of employees and supervising, looking out, and then working somewhere else. He became self-employed. I'd love to Richard come on in here. Um, I see that. Welcome to the Massive Connection Show, sir. I understand you're looking over here. The mission was to help business owners. You in January 2023, became part of the Alignable platform where you immediately became a group leader and you started a group that we're gonna let you share that. I don't want to take the spotlight off of you. This is all about you, about the massive connections and different resources. Richard, tell me, welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Alan. I really am excited about being on here today.
Okay. Well, let's begin by just saying a little bit about your journey and how did you, I understand you're part of the corporate world and somewhere you transition into taking the entrepreneurial right and the self-employed right. Let's start with there. How long have you been doing what you're doing?
Well, I'd have to go back and say I put in over 55 years um, working for other companies, working for somebody else. I was primarily in management. I was also in insurance with four different companies at different times. Um, I was also I did mortgages. So I've had a varied career other than just management. Um, but after my career ended and I decided to go into retirement, instead of going into retirement like many people, all that meant is I started working more than I was before, but I was working for myself. And I've tried a few different companies. I was not happy with it. I originally became a Legal Shield associate promoting Legal Shield way back in 1987. And over the years, I really was so busy with work, I didn't have time to do much. So just recently, I reactivated, and now my primary focus is just Legal Shield.
Okay, awesome. Now, we've actually had some incredible uh, associates and connections on the Massive Connection show with Legal Shield. And everyone, that's the beauty part of Legal Shield. I myself been part of the network in various forms, but again, it's not about me, it's about we. And in this case, Richard Brooks. What approach are you, speaking of Legal Shield, what approach or focus are you focusing on areas of expertise? Because there's many facets to the legal shield community. And where do you focus on? Families, small businesses, their solutions?
Well, that's a good question, Alan. At this point, since I'm just sort of starting to gear up, I guess the best way I could say it, I'm going to be casting a broad net out there. Um, because with Legal Shield, we have both um, services for individuals, for business owners, uh, and truck drivers, Uber drivers, food delivery drivers, you name it. There's probably a product or service for them. Um, the primary uh, service probably that I'm going to be promoting the most because it hits home because I know people involved is a product called the ID Shield, which has to do with identity protection. And that's the one that I've had for years, and um, I strongly believe in. But to answer your question, like I say, I'm primarily on LinkedIn. My main platform is Alignable, in which I joined Alignable way back in January of 23. I immediately went through training and became a group leader so I could have a group on Alignable. My original group was Save My Business because I don't know if you remember, but after COVID, so many small businesses were just closing down. And many of the people that got onlineable they weren't surviving. So I was trying to help people survive. And I spent in many hours, probably well over 40 hours every single week in 2023 on my computer, on Alignable, or on Zooms that came from meetings on Alignable. I met with over 500 different individuals in half hour or 1 hour Zooms last year. And I got a chance to really see a broad base of some of the business owners on the Alignable platform.
That is awesome. It is because one of the things we do at the Massive Connections, we slow the world down just long enough to let them know that there's incredible platforms and there's many virtual networking events. I'm sure that you know that people say, well, there's still many of them, according to one of our good friends with no card, the owner. Says there's over Pickering. It talks about 11 million virtual events. So you scale it down, and for you to be a group leader and alignable, to be able to save businesses where now you want to get back, that's actually incredible. And now you're how are you tailor making your legal show business or bringing together collaboratively with other businesses within the within the alignable platform? How does that work?
Well, at this point, again, I'm just starting really from the beginning. I'm working, I have over time on the Alignable platform, which I highly recommend to people. You can join Alignable for free. Um, you can do certain things as a free member, but eventually you probably want to upgrade. But over time, I have over 1,400 personal connections on Alignable. Um, and I've gotten in 165 personal recommendations from other members. Because one of the things I do when I connect with somebody on Alignable, one of the first things I do is send them links to Alignable training. Uh, I give them, I'm there to try to help them. I'm not trying to, over the years, I'm not trying to sell people. My feeling is, you help them first, and then you can maybe share something that in helping them is going to again help me with my business.
That's awesome. And before I go any further, I want to say I know I recently spoke to you about a week ago, and the very fact that you came on um, at the last moment, I appreciate it. You were feeling under the weather, to say the least. I'm glad you're a fighter. How you feeling,
Well,
Richard?
I'm feeling good. I will just share that approximately about 4 weeks ago, I didn't realize, but somehow I came down with an E. coli infection to the point of after a couple of days with 102-degree fever, I ended up going into the hospital on a Saturday, and they kept me for a whole week. I didn't get out until the following Saturday. The, and I'm it's summertime. E. coli is around, so I will throw this out to people. You don't want to get it. It was so severe, it went septic, where it was starting to affect my organs. And but fortunately, they caught it in time. After a week in the hospital, I was released, and every day since I've been back, I've been feeling, stronger and better, and now I'm in the full swing of things. But as a side note, I'll just remind people, just be careful of what you eat, and follow food safety, especially during these hot times. So, Alan, do you hear me?
Hey Richard, how we doing? So yeah, Emily's back there. There's Emily. So we're trying to help out Alan. He obviously has connection issues. So Emily, what's going on?
And I was just telling Richard that I'm glad he's feeling better with what he was just saying about having E. coli and so on. So, um, but yeah, for soon Alan gets back here. But Kurt, do you have any questions or anything for Richard, or any comments on what he's been saying the last few minutes?
Sure. Is that because you don't? Just kidding, Emily.
Not necessarily, but I just.
You just need a little help. Okay, we got it here. So Richard, we're here at Mastery of Connections. Alan Holmes, MC Holmes, our master connector, and you've been talking about Alignable, and so in terms of the success of Alignable and what people are enjoying at Alignable and making connections, Richard, is there anything more that you can say about, we're serving people who are, working from home, or maybe they are in an office, and, they have a product or service.
Well, Kurt, I'll just go ahead and jump in and say
Which
that.
one it needs to be. So I was just wondering if you can speak a little bit more to, like, maybe tips, tricks, techniques, principles, and kind of the way Alignable works in this art of networking. You want to
Well, I'll be glad to.
speak to that a
Again,
little bit, and kind of how that shows itself and get more out of Alignable? But
right. Well, besides what I've done personally on Lineable, I also have a group on Lineable called Providing Solutions that now has over 2,000 members. Um, and the key thing I would say to everyone who's listening is, no matter what platform you are on, whether it be LinkedIn or Alignable or another platform, it's very important to make sure your profile is filled out and looks as good as you can. On Alignable, especially, uh, I have seen some profiles that are almost blank, and people wonder why no one wants to connect with them. Um, so again, there's Alignable provides a lot of training on how to do all that, but that is one of the key things, is having a really good looking profile. The other thing, is, as you make connections, is messaging them, whether it be like on LinkedIn or on Alignable, and staying in contact. And, every once in a while, trying to, we used to call it years ago before computers, we used to call it a tickler system where we used to keep index cards. Um, and then we'd be reminded to contact somebody so many months later. Now in the digital world, people have all that on their computer and phone, but it is important to sort of touch base with people, and you never know what's happened to people. Like I had this big health event less than a month ago. Um, Somebody else may have had a death in the family. They may have moved. They may have changed jobs. So it's always good to be touching base with people. But those are some of the key things that I might recommend to people.
Sounds good. There's good tips.
And Emily, is there anything I can help you with?
Um, well, I mean, like I said, we are having we're working with a platform called Easy Expo, which is a virtual booth platform. So if you're interested in having a booth on there, but tomorrow we're having our first annual virtual picnic in connection with Easy Expo. It's just kind of a fun, casual hangout since it's the holiday, as well as kind of demoing Easy Expo. And if anybody wants to have a booth created or um, register as an attendee and connect with like other people that have booths on there as well. It's kind of like an all day kind of event.
Yeah,
If
I've
you're
already registered. I'm super excited about attending. I'm going to try and attend almost all of it tomorrow, because I'll be honest with you, like many people, I'm looking at my digital thermometer from outside and it's in the low 90s and it's going to be climbing up to the upper 90s today. So it's going to be this, it's either going to be that or thunderstorms tomorrow. So I'll love to be inside on the computer.
sounds good. Um, Great. Were you gonna say something? Sort of like a curious say something, maybe not, but
What would you like me to speak to, Emily? How can I help you?
Hi, Kurt. Are you here?
um, so um, and I just kind of lost my train of thought.
Well, if you want me to just jump back in, Emily, I'll help out. Yeah, the Alignable platform, again, you can go there. It's just go to alignable.com. You should be able to get information. You can sign up for free. They have been changing some of the memberships. Um, they have the reason I started my group, I'll just delve into that for a minute. As a group leader, besides people being able to post some messages in the group, the big feature of a group is I'm able to schedule two types of events. One on Alignable is a Zoom webinar, which can be either Zoom or any of the other um, video platforms. And most people are familiar with those. And you have that is not run on the Alignable platform. That is run on that specific platform like Zoom. And obviously, you have all the functions of a webinar. I've actually this last year scheduled a few webinars in my group. One of them was with a hypnotist from Europe, a very nice lady. and she delved into and gave all the background on hypnotism and how it can really help you. But I've also in my group, which I might remind everyone again, if you go to Alignable, it's Providing Solutions is the name of the group. If you search on it, um, I've also offered to any member of my group, if they want to promote their own business, I will help work with them and schedule a Zoom webinar where it's their webinar. It's just listed in my group as an event. The other key thing that's different for people who may not have been on Alignable before, they have something called a Smart Connect. Now, that is the proprietary software from Alignable. It is not exactly a Zoom. It is a 1 hour meeting in which, when the person running it starts it, the people are broken out uh, two to a room. So you just have one other person with you. Underneath your videos, you'll see a link to be able to click on their Alignable profile or their website while you're talking to them. And you break out with an individual for 7 minutes. So usually on many of these Smart Connects, you'll be able to meet 7 new people, each for 7 minutes at a time. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can get in 8 people. Um, what I do a little different in my group, instead of spending the first 5 minutes explaining how a Smart Connect works, I will allow members of my group, if somebody's interested, to come on and actually do a short 3 to 5 minute presentation of what they do. That way, everyone sees that before I start the process of doing the one-on-one breakouts. So that is the one big thing that I've seen on Alignable that you don't have on. I've not seen on any other platform. Uh, a person can start their day with nothing planned. They can look up a Smart Connect, they can register for it that same day and attend it, let's say that morning later or that afternoon, and be face to face in a video one on one with somebody for 7 minutes, and do that a number of times. And that's powerful.
So, would you like to tell listeners when you have um, this thing with the Smart Connects?
I'm sorry, Emily, what?
So, do you want us to let everybody know when you do have this group with the
Oh,
Smart Connects?
I in my group, I mean, on Alignable, there's dozens of Smart Connects running in many different groups. But in my group, Providing Solutions, I have an ongoing, every week on Monday at 11 o'clock Central Time, noon Eastern. I have a 1 hour Smart Connect. And I'm also going to be, over this next week or so, I may be adding other Smart Connects and Zoom meetings to the group also. And all those events, when you go to Alignable and you go into a group, they're all listed in the scrolling area at the top of the group.
Okay. Good to know. So Kurt, I think, well, I guess you and I have both been to it before, but would you like to say what your experience of attending Richard's group is, or anything like that?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Emily.
Yeah, just say a couple days ago, through Richard's group, I met a handful of tremendous people, and you, Emily, are, in the midst of, helping get their activities on their calendar and attending the work that they do. And so, yeah, right out of the gate, immediate activities from meeting some people just 2 days ago. So, yeah, very, very productive.
Yeah, and I will just jump in and say from my Smart Connect that I ran on Monday, that's when I met one of the people attending was a person that set up and is running this event on the 4th of July that you mentioned, Emily. So, that there's a great example of if that person hadn't jumped on my Smart Connect, I would never have known about it. So,
All right. Um, yeah, and I wonder if that person and at least one other person and either. So it's good to have those kind of things to meet new people and so on, right? Like any networking is usually good, whether it's a smart connector in another group.
well, and again, like I say, why I spend probably 95% of my time or more on Alignable is because it's visual, just like we are here. And, I found on some of these other platforms, you leave somebody a message and it might be a week later before they reply to it. But if I can be face to face with somebody at a meeting, um, I think that's way more powerful. Um, you can come across as more honest in who you really are, and you get to know who that other person is. Hey, Alan, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. I had a wonderful technical glitch with my phone here. It updated, and all of a sudden I said, poof, I'm gone. But I know that the legendary Emily and I see Kurt has arrived. That's what we do at the Massive Connections. I missed it probably about 3 minutes of it, but I love the very fact that alignable and what you're doing with saving the business world community offline and online and slowing down to just be and that's what Master Connection is about, is being a service. Like Emily and Kurt is doing and have my back. Brother normally skis on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but he's out there joining us today for the 4th of July, even though he owes me a hot dog and a couple other things. But anyway, I digress. This is about Richard Brooks' show, A Moment in the Sun. So, Richard, I don't know what is missed in between, but I know that I just want to say thank you for being part of our amazing platform here, Massive Connections. Did you give out the contact information on how to get a hold of Richard when someone wants to move forward with your legal shield or with your honorable group, or just want to learn how to collaborate, connect with you? Did we get to that part yet?
No, we didn't, but let me just quickly address your technical issues. I got news for you. Everyone's dealing with that all the time. I will mention to everyone who wants to be onlineable, because a lot of it is a visual platform, especially if you're in a smart connect. You want to have the very best internet connection you can. You want to make sure your camera works well and everything else. So that's real important, if you're connecting with people. As far as speaking of connecting, if you want to connect with me, the simplest way is my digital business card is the name of my group, providingsolutions.net. So if you go to providing solutions with an S on the end, .net, you'll bring up my digital business card, which you're able to call me from it, email me, and find out about some of the Legal Shield products on there.
Okay, providingsolutions.net. What a easy thing to remember, and an incredible, massive connections. Another edition. I want to say thank you for being here with us today, Richard. But before we let you go, we just want to let the community who are and the Word of Ability listening audience and those listening on replay, Emily and Kurt will go ahead and step in now and just say, where else can we see the legendary, the incomparable Mr. Richard Brooks and who he is? And I know there's a platform called the Disability Channel or the World of Ability. Off to you, Emily or Kurt. Which where can we see Richard and his amazing information?
I know we're live streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook right now. So there's that. And Gary, do you have anything else you want to add? I mentioned Easy Expo before.
I guess Emily, be a question. Richard's going to be attending.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely be attending it tomorrow, and I'm going to try and catch almost the whole thing.
So Emily, are we going to see him on Easy Expo?
Yes, it's Easy Expo too. So
Okay. All right. Well, and each one of us has a gift, and I would definitely recommend, or we would recommend here, the Massive Connection, to just get a hold of Richard. If you're a small business owner, a organization, someone who's trying to get the word out, the message, then Richard Brooks is the star of the hour. Despite Alan's little hiccup, but that's what we do. You never know what you're going to see here. We're just a family of Massive Connections. And on behalf of the Massive Connections team and family here, Miss Emily and Kurt, Richard, thank you. Thank you for stopping by, and hope each and every one of you have an amazing, amazing 4th of July, safe one. Let's take care of the family, and let's change the world together with the Massive Connections research. Until next time, we'll see you next Wednesday with the Massive Connection for another upcoming guest, and who knows, we're going to stop by. And I promise, well, Scouts on that we will sit here and behave myself and be online and not zip out in and out. Never knows what's going to happen, but we always have fun here. Till next time, Richard, thank you again for being here. And Emily and Kurt, to you for your final words, if any.
Well, it was a pleasure, Alan, and I thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.